the top of the Empire State Building.
You know him as Robbie Shapiro from Victorious. He's now touring the country as a DJ. One half of iParty. Hi, Matt Bennett.
DJ Matt Bennett
So
in the mix.
Are we calling you DJ Matt Bennett?
I guess so. That's my official title. And I like it.
Yeah.
It works pretty well.
It's like not cool, but so cool. Does that make sense?
It's not cool.
No, like it's like DJ Shelly
Right.
Rome. Like,
Well,
but
so
that's what makes it so cool.
what I've been thinking about doing, I think I need to be one of those masked DJs. You know, I got to get a big fat helmet like Dead Mouse or like Marshmallow. So until I find that alter ego, then I'm just going to stick with DJ Matt Bennett.
Maybe we can come up with one by the end of the interview.
Well, thinking about Nickelodeon stuff, I was thinking like DJ Tommy Pickles, and I have like a big raver, Daft Punk version of a Tommy Pickles head.
I love that.
I also like DJ Dancing Lobster from the Amanda Show.
Yes.
They had all the dancing lobsters, but...
Or you could just come out as Miranda Cosgrove.
Yeah, sure.
You just have her head on your body. And now when you get...
That's actually been a recurring dream of mine.
Really?
Not a nightmare, a dream.
Yes, that would be fantastical, I'm sure. But also, like, think about it. If you're having an off day or, you want to take a break, you don't have to necessarily be on stage at every show.
Yes, I've been thinking about that. But I like doing it so much.
Yeah.
I want to do an alter ego so I can do more show.
Got it.
I want to open for myself as DJ Lampshade, and I just have a lampshade on top of my... Because there's so many great songs from the era that I'm, playing from that, don't necessarily fit into when I come out and we do all the bangers, the but there's like sweet songs that
like The Climb.
Yeah, we end with The Climb. That's usually, our big finale, and then Make It Shine from Victorious. But no, like the start of something new from High School Musical.
Right.
It slows everything down. So it's good if you kind of start with that at the beginning and build up, and then I come out, and then that's when the party really gets going.
But also people are, so I want to really talk about this because I experienced it. You're a native New Yorker, and you sold out Irving Plaza in one day.
Yes.
Which is just amazing.
Amazing to me as well.
Yes.
It's, all of these venues are places I went when I was younger.
Yeah.
And, I'd be running on the treadmill listening to music, and I'm just like, oh, someday maybe I could, play the Bowery Ballroom or play the Irving Plaza. That was always my fantasy. And then all of a sudden, so here we are.
And I have to say, like, it's not like we have a mutual friend who was like, you got to come see this. And I was like, okay. It blew me away. Like the crowd, the energy, the fun. It's absolutely something that you need to experience. So let's go back. I got an email. How did this start? So obviously you're acting, you're doing all kinds of things, and then the DJ enters.
Yes.
Tell me.
Without naming any names, I went out to a DJ dance party that was a throwback to 2000s music.
I love that you.
I'm
amazing.
I don't know. It's just this. Whenever I think of DJ, I just do the physical chicka chicka. This is I harken back to the vinyl days.
Oh yeah.
That's what I started. I have 2 turntables, so I was doing Twitch during the pandemic, and I would do vinyl DJing. But
what made you start doing that? Why?
So I went to a dance party where there was a certain like a celebrity DJing, and I was like, this looks not easy, but like if this person can do it, I should try to do it. And I got up and I did it, what was it, January or February 2020, and I had a great time. And
you did it where, on Twitch?
No. Oh. So I did it in person. There was a venue that just closed called The Satellite, and I did it, and the crowd...
I need details. You promoted this?
Should I go back to the beginning and we can cut it?
Yes.
Yeah. I just don't know how exactly to phrase it because it's like, it was a C-list celebrity, and they did a very bad job of DJing. And so I was like... I was like, I could do this. I will do this. So then I reached out to the company. I'm like, I would love to DJ. I want to do it. And they go, sure, come on up. So I was kind of doing, my set was like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, and then a little bit of, emo music, some good Charlotte. But the second I played a Victoria song, the roof blew off the place. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then the pandemic hit. So I was like, I couldn't explore it further, unless I did it on Twitch. And I noticed every single time that when I was DJing, I would switch into the Nickelodeon and Disney music, the place would, explode. Somehow word would get out and viewership would start rising.
Right.
And I had a mutual friend with Jeffrey, so my friend Matthew Scott Montgomery, who was on So Random, it's a Disney Channel show. We had a mutual friend, this guy, Jeffrey Lyman, who does all these events under the name Club 90s. And Jeffrey saw us together dancing while I was DJing, and he asked Matthew, does Matt Bennett want to DJ? And I was like, that's all I've ever wanted.
Really? So that's all you've ever...
For the last year and a half. This, this has been my dream for the last year and a half. It was really fun. I want to do it more.
Yeah.
And we booked a night at 1720 in Los Angeles that sold really well, enough where we were like, we should take it to New York. And when Jeffrey said, you're doing Bowery Ballroom, I'm like, oh my God. I used to go see punk shows there. And we sold that out. And it was really fun. And so then it just really kind of popped off from there. And so we took it, made it iParty, and it's been a party.
It's such a fun party. It's so crazy. And not only are you doing sold out shows here in the US, but you're actually now going overseas, right? You're doing London. I mean,
yeah, we booked London. It's sold out, so we're announcing another date soon, and we're also working on Manchester and I think Scotland, and hopefully more. But the funny thing is, the next week I'm supposed to be back in, I think, Florida. So I'm like, all right. It goes from London. I think that London is now the last show.
Right.
And then we're going to fly back here and do more.
Well, that speaks to kind of how this is, I guess, I don't know if metastasizing is the right word, but because I don't know if that's a negative or a positive word, but it's kind of growing, right? And you see people are like, wait a minute, why aren't you coming to Staten Island? I see all, Ohio, right?
I see all the comments. Right. First off, is there a venue in Staten Island that I could play?
I'm sure there has to be. We'll ask.
It's one of the boroughs, so
yeah, sure.
It's
you play the ferry.
Well, that'd be really funny. What I've been telling people when they ask about this, I'm really just benefiting from decades of groundwork that Nickelodeon and Disney laid, taking these shows overseas. Yeah. So the other, one of the examples that I kind of use is emo night, right? Emo music, yes, really fun. And emo night really worked because it was this kind of scoffed out genre that a lot of people liked. Yeah. And they were able to say, hey, you know what? This thing that you think is cool. And, they validated it. I'm kind of doing the same thing, but what we're working with is, I think, even more widespread. Because I know for a fact that they dubbed Victorious into Spanish, French, German, Japanese. And that's just one show. They did this for everything. So I'm really just benefiting off of Nickelodeon and Disney pushing things globally to the point where, people see it on TikTok, and also, of course, the TikTok boom. People see that this is happening online. They're able to say, oh my God, they're playing Lemonade Mouth at the club. Yep. I got to go to that.
Yeah. But I think it's an interesting thing that you bring up the emo night, because I think, and maybe I remember us loving the music and then coming a time, just as you said, where people were like, this isn't really cool anymore. This is I don't know, this is lame, or...
Well, there was an emo backlash. I remember, the whole, the swooped hair, it became a parody.
Yeah, suddenly Good Charlotte wasn't cool anymore. First they were super cool, and not to single out Good Charlotte, they're just the first people that came to my brain. Yeah, of course. But you're right, that's sort of, we were all there, as adults now, loving these songs, being like, I don't think I realized how awesome these songs really were back in the day.
It was more of a niche that just kind of, when the emo night guys shined a light on it and said, hey, remember this? Yeah. It's actually really good. I kind of get to do the same thing. And I know firsthand, Nickelodeon and Disney were hiring real songwriters for the first time, making these songs work. They were hiring real filmmakers. Kenny Ortega had, huge filmography under his belt before he did High School Musical. There's real talent from this particular era that, and now it was just a sizable part of so many kids' lives. So it's been really funny tapping into that, being able to say hey guys, this was actually really good. My favorite song to do is This Is Me from Camp Rock. It's a really great song.
It is.
That song is such a banger, especially when Joe Jonas comes back in. You're the voice I hear inside. The wave of energy that, I feel from the crowd as they start, they're
crazy.
Yelling it. Yeah. You see, it's like a cathartic experience.
Oh, yeah.
And I get the comments from people being like, well, relived my childhood, or, childhood complete, or, all these. It's becoming more of not a religious experience, but
it kind of is, though. No,
it's just this. It's a big communal sing along, and it's like kumbaya.
Yep.
almost.
Yeah, we're all looking at each other like, is this really happening? Are we really here?
It tickles the brainstem in a way where people are like, I haven't heard the song in 10 years, but it was on my iPod shuffle, consistently. Oh my God, I can't believe that we're listening to Rockstar by Hannah Montana.
Yep, and loving it, not
and loving
judging
it.
Being like, this is so fun.
Yeah, certainly.
And I think what's so cool is that you're also breathing new life into this music. I wonder if streams have started to go up and somebody owes you a check somewhere.
It's interesting. The one that I want to stress the most.
Yeah.
Victoria Justice.
I was going to get to that.
When we do that at the end of the night, so good.
Yeah.
Those songs are so great, and she sings them so well.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to see this resurgence and she's putting out new music. Yeah. And I text her almost every, show. I'm just like, Vic, you got to go back on the road. Or even the kids are ready for it.
Just join you on stage. I mean, come. And
I want to see her do a whole solo tour. I think it would be so good because there are 3 albums worth of Victoria songs. Yeah. That's enough.
When you did My Best Friend's Brother.
That's the opening song. It's so good.
It sets the tone for the show, and to see people just go absolutely insane, she needs to see that. She needs to know that, there's an appreciation for the music that she gave us.
Well, we have had celebrity guests out. The best, honestly, when I knew that we had something special on our hands, when I tweeted, I was like, who do you want to see come out at iParty? Fully expecting it to just be Ariana Grande. Because obviously, that, overwhelmingly people are like, Leon. We want Leon. And I'm like, interesting. Right. It was, some of the answers are just so fascinating. So we brought out Daniela. She sings a song on Victoria's called Chicago. And we brought her out in Chicago and she sang, it's a 45-second long song. And the audience, the video does it justice. But being on that stage after the show, I was like, you felt that too, right? And she goes, that was insane. I've been to countless Ariana shows. Yeah. Nothing felt like when Daniela Monáe came out on stage in Chicago to sing Chicago. So we brought out Liz as well.
That was crazy.
I'm trying to get Leon to come out.
Talk about the Liz. Hold on. Because did you feel like when because she was dressed in a disguise or whatever.
Yes.
And so the moment, I'm getting chills because I watched the video and it's so crazy. The moment people realized it was her, just describe how that went down.
So Liz said, I want to come out on stage. I want to do Freak the Freak Out and Give It Up. Mm-hmm. She wants to be on stage to dance to those songs. But she goes, but I want to be in a disguise first and do a reveal that, she dressed like Jade, her character. Yeah. So she got a janitor costume from set. She was working on Dynasty at the time. She is working on Dynasty. So she grabbed a janitor's costume. And every 15 minutes or so would come out and try to act busy, pull a cable and make it look like she was doing something, leave water on stage for me, leave a towel. And then, so the reason why she wanted to do it was in the episode that had Freak the Freak Out, Tori dresses up and then reveals underneath that it's been Victoria the whole time. So yeah, that's just Liz though. Yeah. Whatever that idea in the back of her head, but how about a disguise? Yeah.
And she committed.
Dude, she committed to the bit. I'm such a big, she's, one of my best friends, but I'm such a big fan of just her vision, and her fearlessness, because she always goes all out for Halloween. Sometimes not even, just she'll dress up as an elderly man. And this is what she does. What the guy's name is Glenn. Mm-hmm. She puts on this, costume, and he's just like an old deadhead, and he's, all about peace and love. And she just starts answering questions as some guy named Glenn. And I'm like, where did that come from? Why? It's a thankless job. I don't think anybody but me enjoys it, but that's just her. So
I remember we have a mutual friend, Zach, and we worked together many, many, many years ago, and we had her on the show. And I remember she wanted to answer phones, and she just was there for an hour answering phones and just talking to everybody. And I was like, this is special. She's different.
Dude, she's down to clown.
Yeah, she's fun. So wait, who's your next dream guest? Who do you want on that stage with you?
I've been okay. Anaheim
is booked to come on.
Yes, Anaheim show. Mm-hmm. I had an idea for a guest. Yeah, it's coming up on I think Saturday. I had a guest in mind, and I got them, and I'm so excited.
Wait, if we play a game and I guess it, will you reveal it? Or
when does this come out? I guess it doesn't matter because. Friday or Saturday. I'm sure it's fine. Go for it.
Okay.
It's a deep cut because when people said they want Leon to come out, I'm like, ooh. I feel like it's wide open.
Okay. Is the person what I'm gonna ask questions and then you're gonna be like it's too easy. But like, okay, is the person on your Victorious
Yes.
cast? Oh.
I want to start getting people who weren't on Victorious.
Right.
But right now it's very fun. I'm just kind of like texting people like, would you be down to do this? And overwhelmingly people are like, yeah, sure.
So, okay, wait, before I guess, you have like, you're saying you want people outside of Victorious, which of course, I mean, there's, you have like a pool of people to choose from, but I think you have to give yourself and the cast a lot of credit because those songs at the show, at least the one that I was in Bowery, get some of the loudest responses. And you're playing Selena, Miley, Demi, Ariana. I mean, you're playing everybody.
Right.
And people are truly reacting to those Victorious songs. So you gotta give yourself that credit.
You
guys made a mark.
I remember all of the lyrics. I knew them before going in. It was very special every week when they'd be like, here's the new track. And most of them are really good. There's some that I don't like, and I'll tell you which ones.
Which ones?
There's a song called "Here's to Us." I think that ended up being like the finale. Yeah, it opens with this ooh, and so like when I get sometimes when I have a fever, it like wakes me up. I'll like hear that refrain in my head. I just don't. That song didn't speak to me.
Yeah. Okay. I got it. So you don't play that one if you don't like it, right?
No.
You don't play songs.
No. Well, there's a song I like called "Make It in America," but it's a little bit like too slow.
Yeah.
A lot of people request "Broken Glass," which was a song that I played, and I've done it now a couple of times, and I think it's funnier to request the song than to actually sit and hear it because it's just me with an acoustic guitar. It's not like fun to dance to.
Right.
I don't think it translates as well.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of those that, are bangers, are bops, but may not fit into the curriculum. I call it the
vibe of the show.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
you want to keep the energy up.
Yeah.
It's a dance party.
Wait. There's so much I want to talk to you about.
Yes.
But first I want to guess, and then we're coming back to Victorious because it's very important.
Mhm.
Okay, wait. It's from Victorious, and I mean,
It's not one of the main.
I was gonna say, is it
7.
Avon?
It's not one of us. It's
Is it? Okay, so my memory's really bad, and I haven't watched an episode in a really long time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna I can't give you any more names other than that. But is it the creepy teacher?
It's very possible.
It's the creepy
well,
teacher.
we might.
What's his name? I'm sorry, I don't want to
we
be
might-
disrespectful.
So that's the thing. We definitely have one guest confirmed, but we could potentially have 2
Okay.
or more.
Okay.
So, Eric Lang, who played Sikowitz,
That's it.
has been invited. We'll see. But
Okay.
the one who's confirmed is.
I'm sorry, Victorious fans. I can't ask any more questions. If
I'll
it's
tell
not
you
the main-
afterwards.
It's gonna be exciting though.
It's going to be online anyway
Yeah,
because once I realized that, if Daniela. So somebody told me at one of the shows, said, please let me know next time Daniela is going to be at a show.
Aw.
I will fly out for it. And I said, you'll fly anywhere in the U.S. to hear Daniela do a 45-second song about Chicago.
Mhm.
I said, yes, I need to hear it.
That's amazing.
And I get it.
Yeah.
Listen, my role model, my hero, is and always has been Weird Al Yankovic. I love Weird Al because, he kept it clean
Mhm.
and he just stayed himself. He was consistently just weird, I guess, for lack of a better word. But the kids who grew up with Eat It came of age when he started doing the Nirvana parody, when he
Right.
did, It Smells Like Nirvana, when he did Amish Paradise, and then they got older and had kids
that
and
one.
showed their kids.
Right.
So you go to his concert and the audience is, 8 to 80. And that's the kind of longevity that I could only hope for. But, he did a show where he did all of his deep cuts, all of the not parodies.
Only fans like
And-
you would know.
So I went, he did 2 nights in LA and I went both nights. He has this 10-minute long song called Albuquerque.
Oh my
and
god.
he played it and I was like, it was like an out of body experience.
Right. This was your Michael Jackson. I'm meeting
yeah.
Michael Jackson moment.
If I had, the inside scoop that he was going to play that at a concert, I probably would have flown myself out to hear it.
Yeah.
The same way that, if you want to hear Chicago. The barista who made my coffee the other day said, I just got to tell you, Broken Glass changed my life. And I don't know, I should have said thank you, but I just said, how? I was like, really? Was there something in the lyrics that just reached out and spoke? She didn't have an answer. I think she was just trying to be funny, but I was still like, really?
Either way,
Can't believe it.
It made a mark, whether it's in a funny way and that's what I was thinking. Just looking back at at your time in Victorious, just kind of seeing it from a nostalgic point of view. First of all, that's what you're giving people. You're giving them comfort, as we already said. You're giving them childhood. You're giving them just good feelings in simpler times and better times, and you're taking them back to moments, and it's all of that stuff. But like when you look back at your time on Victorious, you're cement. Whatever you do for the rest of your life, you are cement.
I'm going to be Robbie for the rest of my life.
But like some people would actually be like, no, I don't want to just be known for one thing. But if you think about it, that you made such an impact on people that you are cemented in people's brains, hearts, minds, childhoods. I mean, you're a part of somebody's life, at least for a couple of years. And it's fond memories. I mean, so when you look back from like this nostalgic view, what does that feel like? How do you see your time on that show?
I think, with great power comes great responsibility. I think about, have you ever seen The Truman Show?
I've seen parts of it.
So there's, it's about this guy who, he doesn't realize he lives inside of a TV show, basically. Yeah. And they do this beautiful thing where they show people who are watching it. It'll be a guy in a bathtub. It'll be like two women in Japan. It'll be, there's a bar that just runs the Truman Show 24/7. And you get to see little snippets of the lives that this show touches. And I think about that. How many, households, how many hospital rooms, how many just everywhere that this show has been beamed into and has brought people a little bit of joy. Yeah. So, I'm happy that, yes, I'll be Robbie forever, but, I'm part of a legacy that, we're a comfort show. People have fallen asleep to Victorious. People use that as, whatever that, as they turn out the nightlight. Yeah. They just, listen to my screechy voice. But
it's people love that sound.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's honestly, like, again, people want to get away from that one character that they think defines
I'm cool
them.
to honor it. Yeah. It's most people, it's something you can only dream of. Yeah. There was no guarantee of this. Mm-hmm. The funny thing, when we signed up for Victorious, one of the things that was kind of not, I don't think they said it outright, but implied was like, you're going to be known globally. Yeah. And that sounded really cool. What you kind of forget is you're going to be known globally to 8 and 9-year-olds, right? More or less. But now, so then I lived like a normal 10 years where I was just kind of a dude hanging out. And now I can't go anywhere. Now, especially post-pandemic, because, a lot of people had nothing else to do but rewatch the episodes of Victorious. And like I said with Weird Al, they're showing it to their, younger siblings or now their kids. So it's just the weirdest. I now can't go anywhere without people recognizing me. And it's the weirdest turn of events.
It's crazy. Like you pivoted. You were doing one thing and then you started just out of passion, right? Or even, I guess, then, quarantine, something to do. But you're a musician as well. I'm sure a lot of people know that.
I play guitar and, I've put out a bunch of music. Mm-hmm. But, I'm happy that I just like being on stage. Yeah. I like paying homage. I think I do a good job at being like an MC and paying homage to this era, which, High School Musical came out when I was in 9th grade. It hit my school hard. Hannah Montana 2, Meet Miley Cyrus, was one of my favorite albums when I was in middle school. I'm not afraid to say it. It's really well written and it's really catchy. Yeah. And I think Miley's a great singer. And some like Selena Gomez, the Selena and the Scene music is great. Or, the Demi Lovato stuff where she was, trying to be like Paramore. That stuff is so good. It's a cool era that nobody had really said, hey guys, wasn't this cool? Mm-hmm. And it's just amazing that I was like, hey guys, wasn't this cool? Everyone's like, yes, oh my God, you're right. I didn't realize.
It's Club Disney and Club Nickelodeon all in one. And it's
iParty.
So fun. It's iParty. Your transitions during the show though. So, for those who haven't seen it, I guess this is the DJ part of it. It's the musical genius part of it. You transition from song to song so effortlessly and so seamlessly, and then you have the videos playing behind you. Just talk about how do you even sit down and pick that playlist and decide what should come first, second, middle, last? I mean,
they always say that the most important thing, for DJing is knowing your music, knowing what you want to play. So, it was trial and error. There was a couple of times. So one of the things that we did at early shows that was so fun, we would get everybody up for We're All in This Together. Especially now with, BA5, whatever this variant, we have to kind of phase it out for now. Mm-hmm. But, figuring out how to do that seamlessly. So I would take a second and stop the show and the energy would kind of dip. So now what we do is we give a heads up right before, the song before and say, you guys come up after, we'll get the people So they're ready and prepared, and they're aware that's what's going to happen. So it's trial and error. There's a lot of the early shows where we didn't have video, and you're just looking at me. And it's, while this is a, beautiful face to look at, it can get monotonous. So we're like, the video is a necessity.
Yeah.
And it's fun too because, Miley has changed so much. Demi has changed so much. Selena, Victoria. Actually, I think most of the Victoria's cast looks pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Maybe Ariana looks different, but it's fun to play the video and people be like, oh my God, look at baby Miley. Look at, like doing He Could Be the One or, Nobody's Perfect.
Or what's the one that I love from Miley? Seven
Things I Hate About You. That is that song is just great.
It's so good.
I remember when See You Again came out and I was living in New York and I was walking through the city and it was playing on the radio at like a Jamba Juice or something. And I go, wow, this is something.
Yeah.
But because before, you had to kind of escape the Disney system to work. I think about the Mickey Mouse Club, Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, Ryan Gosling, Christina Aguilera. All these people got their start in, with Disney and then had to evolve and grow out of it. Miley was pushing the boundaries while still in the Disney system.
Right, that's true.
And they were, promoting her as a solo artist. Yeah. I know I mentioned that Hannah Montana 2 Meet Miley Cyrus is one of my favorite albums when I was in middle school, but half of it was Hannah Montana, half of it was the Miley debut album. So, they were actively building their artists to be superstars.
Yeah. It's interesting that you bring that up because, like escaping that sort of image. I guess Miley sort of taught everyone in a very dramatic or over the top way how to kind of get out of it. But yeah, like just seeing the pre and the present of these different artists, it is interesting. Like you can grow.
I think
within
that
the system.
She did a great job and has grown into quite an artist. But I think that most people learned from her mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah. But I get it. I totally get why she did that. I totally get why she pushed it so far because it was the only way to sort of kind of get out of there.
Right.
Okay, so did you text someone to be like, "Hey, come on stage," and they were like, "No, not for me," or is there somebody that you had in mind that was sort of like, I don't know?
I was trying to get Leon to come to the New York show.
Yeah.
It was a little bit short notice, but I think that he'd be down to do it. That's the only one so far where he was like, "Oh yeah, I can totally make it." So I am busy. I have something booked. It was the 4th of July weekend too.
Oh, come on, Matt.
He was like, "No, I totally." He was like, "I got plans and everything."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's okay."
You play a lot of Ariana songs, and I know you've been in some of her videos.
Right, precisely.
And I remember when you put out the album, you did "Thank Me Next." You covered
for her birthday.
So brilliant. Has she given you any feedback? Like, what's her thoughts on this?
I don't know. Who knows? Maybe in the future. Who knows?
Really? Wait. So you said no? She's not one of the main.
I don't. Well, like I said, I'm so excited that people are just they're like, we want Leon. So I'm like exploring like, how far can we push it without playing into the obvious? Like Liz was just it was worked so well because she was in Georgia. That's where they shoot Dynasty.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm kind of enjoying paying homage and doing the not obvious thing.
Got it.
Kind of pushing it with who from the audience, because I think that actually is
it's kind of cooler. It's cooler. Yeah.
There's things that I like subverting expectations, and I think that we are consistently doing that.
Yeah. Also, why does one city get Ariana and the other city doesn't get Ariana?
It's unfair, right?
It's unfair. Like, if she's going to come, she's got to come on the whole tour.
The thing that's it's really fun doing this, but it is work.
Yeah.
It's really, flying places, getting, staying positive, staying upbeat can be really hard. It's hard being on the road. But
yeah, what's that like? I mean, you guys, when you were promoting Victorious, I'm sure you guys did a lot of that stuff where you...
Not a ton. Mostly things around Los Angeles.
Okay.
We went to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. We went to, we did New York. We did London. But, and we did a show in Orlando. I think that was it for travel. And Mall of America.
Right.
But beyond that, it was mostly just like little tiny pop-up events over back in LA.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of, this is my first time really seeing a lot of the U.S.
So what keeps you going though? Like, because I'm sure there was a point where you were doing like when I saw you, I think at Bowery, wasn't that your second show? Didn't you have 2 shows?
Yeah,
that
I
night?
did an early show and a late show.
How do you keep, because on stage, like what people have to understand when they come see you, you are moving, what is it, like 2 hours? You're nonstop.
Yeah, so we have an opening act that usually does about an hour 30, and then I do close to 2.
How do you keep that? Is it just fully adrenaline or?
A lot of coffee works. The lucky thing, there's a great quote that I like, you got to get your chemicals right in your 20s. So I turned 30 back in November. And, I never had a big alcohol or drug type phase. So I just, but I totally see why people get bogged down in that because it can be really monotonous and really boring. But I don't know. I just love it so much. I just love it's a gift to be able to see the world. And I kind of view it as the gift that it is. Yeah. A lot of people look back, like you said, a lot of people don't want to be, remembered for just one thing. But dude, my dream was to be on a Nickelodeon show. And I somehow finagled it. I convinced them. I tricked them into casting me. And it's been hard finding the next thing because I was like, I kind of did it. I did the dream. That was about as far as my vision went. Yeah. So, I love acting and can't wait to do more of it. But for the time being, I'm like, this is actually the most rewarding thing that I've gotten to do in a long time.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I do. I view it as the gift that it is. And it makes it easy to just... to enjoy it every night.
You're pretty much a rock star. You're touring the country
pretty much
as a rock star. Like
you're like
a
DJ rock star.
You're a DJ rock star.
I don't know. Once I need a helmet. I need to get the helmet, and then I feel like I'll have made it as a DJ.
We gotta find that.
Yeah.
I also saw that you're doing. This is cool. Now that the shows are just growing and getting bigger, and you're having more opportunities to incorporate more things. You're working with Headcount.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us more about that.
I've reached out to a couple of different charities or a couple of different nonprofit organizations. It's the least I could do. Yeah. Times are strange, times are weird, and our audience is largely, our demographic I'd say is like 18 to 24-year-old female who, they're largely feeling disillusioned, largely feeling that their voice isn't, being heard, doesn't matter. And I was like, the least I could do is, provide them with a venue. So Headcount, what they do is they just get people registered to vote. I don't tell people how to vote. You can find out my political leanings pretty much. I posted a picture of me with Bernie Sanders, if that is any indication. But, all I can do is offer, we have this venue. While I have your attention, we got a booth over there. If you guys want to register to vote, it's their future. This is the future that we're talking to here. So Headcount's just the first. I'm looking forward to building this up, with iParty and having more, other charities and other organizations that I think can make a real difference.
Yeah. Where do you see this going? I mean, because again, like when we talked, you said you could you're just going, more people want shows. I'm just going to keep booking. I mean, now that you see that there's a response and there's people who are really, really want this, like, do you have a vision for how big this can get?
I have so many visions. I'm just trying to get through the month. That's the thing. Like, I look at my calendar and I'm like, oh, wouldn't this be fun? And I'm like, when do I have time to do this? Right. I mean, the next thing that I want to do, there's a venue in Los Angeles with multiple different rooms, and I just want to have the biggest party. I think like around October-ish. I want to have a room for this is the Disney room. This is the Nickelodeon room. One of my big dreams, and I'm saying it now so that nobody steals it.
Okay.
Dance Dance Revolution night. I don't know how to make it work, but I just want a room that's just the entire, like, all the Dance Dance Revolution music.
Oh my God.
And so what I want to do, like, kind of a festival where it's, an all-day thing, and you maybe get like the food trucks outside. You can get different independent vendors because I see on Etsy so many different funny, plays, toys, gadgets, T-shirts made, and get a bunch of different independent sellers and just have like a festival of.
Okay, so you're building a festival.
That's my dream, but I look at my calendar. Happen. I'm like, when is that going to be a reality?
Once the month is over, you'll start working on it.
Yeah.
Wait, so you have a festival. Let's say, who's like your dream? Who's performing with you? You're the headliner, or you're maybe whatever. Who cares? Mm-hmm. Who's there with you at this festival?
I mean, I've reached out to a couple people. Yeah, So when I started with Nickelodeon, there was a clear effort to. Start building out singer-songwriters in the same way that Disney did. So almost everybody that I know is an amazing singer and songwriter from that era. So I reached out. First person I thought of was Kira Kosserin. I don't know if you've listened to her music, but she's really good. I I don't know. I'd love to get the Naked Brothers band back together.
Oh my God!
I'd love.
Stop it!
I don't know if I can.
You can do it.
That'd be really fun. And then there's like new up and coming acts. Nickelodeon has a Slime Fest that I looked at the list and I'm like, man, I actually reached out to some of these people before to make appearances. There's a group called Boys World that I'm a big fan of. And I was like, hey, you should do if I ever do an iParty festival, would you want to? They're like, we're booked on Slime Fest. And I'm like, oh no. I was like, but something like that.
Dude, we want to come. That would be so epic. And just seeing, again, I can't stress this enough, just seeing the joy, in a serious note, the joy and, I don't know, just the vibe and the energy and all the buzzwords that I can possibly think of. It's such an experience. And I was looking at the person next to me going like, this is brilliant. And it's so fun.
Thank you.
It's really, really fun. And I was so glad I got to experience it.
I'm so happy that I discovered this was something that people wanted.
Yes.
With everything that I've done, I've tried to, try to find the next thing that really speaks to people. And I'm just happy that I found something that it was this untapped market. And I'm happy to facilitate this fun experience for people. And it has been, even our worst show was a great show. We haven't had terrible shows, but
But you're really good at from what I noticed, because at the New York show, there's a plug came out or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah.
And you were you were just like, guys, 1 second, and everyone was like, okay, we understand.
Yeah,
you plugged it back in and we
my
got it
laptop
going
got
again.
unplugged and the battery died, but it came back on really fast.
Really fast.
Yeah, I mean, the lucky thing is our audience is very forgiving.
Yes,
which is
very.
good. I mean, it's some of the DJ crowd, the EDM crowd, they can be kind of snobbish. That's not who we're speaking to. This is just about,
That's a good
for lack of a
point.
better word, the good vibes.
That's a good point. Yeah, nobody was like mad. No, everyone was just having a good time. Nobody we were just all happy to be there, and it was all demographics. I mean, because it's not all ages, right? Like,
so, we have done all ages shows. I would like to, find a way to make that work, but most venues are 18 and up.
yeah, people were drinking, and I'm like,
Which
it's so weird that we're all drinking here, like vibing out to see you again.
That's the craziest thing too. Is like I get comments like, "I want to come, but I'm 10."
Right.
And I'm like, how? First off, you shouldn't be on the internet. Please, delete your Instagram now. But it's just, how is that possible? Because the show came out when they were 2.
Yeah.
And
well, isn't it on Netflix? Aren't you?
Exactly.
Are you guys-
Well, it's just it's a beautiful thing that it keeps growing, keeps happening.
Yeah.
I say, we kind of benefited. We're the first generation, we benefited from Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Twitter and Facebook existed, YouTube existed, but Instagram came out and it was the way to connect with us directly as we were still doing the show. And then, when the show ended, we were airing all the time on Teen Nick and then on Netflix. So we're the first generation where our show was never unavailable in any capacity. It was always a way to find it. Even just like 5 years before us, there are shows that came and went. You had to kind of be there at the time to see it.
Oh, yeah.
Even a lot of the Disney Channel stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Hannah Montana's going to skip a couple of years because there was no Disney Plus. We were just on Netflix when it worked out.
People that know, it's funny, people that know Miley now that are like super young, they're going to be like, when they discover Hannah Montana, it's going to be such a shock. Okay, last question.
Sure.
You play everybody. You play the Jonas Brothers. You play all of the huge superstars. I mean, again, you're like really breathing new life into their music. Is anybody aware that you're doing this? Do they know, like any of the big Miley, Selena, Demi, Jonas? I mean, everybody who, even High School Musical, has anybody sort of made contact?
I know that Demi is aware because of our friend Matthew Scott, who did the Ghosted show with them. I think that's what it was called, the Ghost Paranormal Activity thing.
Yes, that you just put out.
Yes, so Demi's best friend. And they posted reposted when I was dancing on stage with Matthew Scott to La La Land, which is also one of my favorite songs. It's also, here's the other thing. It's a lot of these songs are musically complex. I have a friend who broke it down for me. The breakdown at the end of La La Land is this polyrhythmic. I should say that again. Now I'm all flustered. It's this polyrhythmic breakdown at the end of La La Land where there's like everything is playing in a different tempo, and it's just it's like a music minded thing, and it's fascinating that I want to talk more at length about actually why these songs work so well. And it's because, there are real musicians behind these behind these songs, and there's real thought behind it. So, but yeah, that's beside the question. I'm just
that's
very excited by it.
Yeah. I mean, again, the music is clearly stands the test of time, and people are really So Demi's aware. So maybe
Demi's aware.
Demi, would you?
I mean, my
come on?
dream is Miley.
Miley. Okay.
I think that would be so fun.
Miley's your dream.
You know, I met her maybe like 10, 11 years ago. I don't know if she'd remember me, but I think she's got one of the best and most singular voices. Yeah. I think she's such a good singer. So.
Yeah. When you see her live, you're blown.
And she doesn't ever revisit. I need her to do East Northumberland High or Girls Night Out.
Yeah. Yeah, you do play a lot. You're clearly a Miley fan. You play a lot of Miley.
I mean, yeah, especially the first album and the second album, I think are really underrated.
Yeah. Oh, you have songs. Are you gonna eventually start playing your own solo?
A little bit. You know, I'm there to facilitate a good time for everybody else. Yeah. I try not to be as be very indulgent with it. For a while, I played my cover of Seven Rings, and people would tolerate it, but.
You're not giving yourself enough credit.
It's fun, but what we kind of benefit most from, what I see works well, is just playing the hits. Yeah. And I really, I don't need the ego boost of, well, here's my deep dark, track about whatever, which, the one album that I put out is like a weird, dark, depressing thing, just an experiment.
It was, so. Yeah, wasn't it? We don't have to talk about it, but yeah,
we can.
Oh, weren't you? So I read about it and I listened to actually some of it.
Okay.
It was. Every song was a different Robin Williams movie.
Yes.
And you were detailing
my parents' divorce. So that was the joke of it. I just wanted to make something with such a strange concept. I thought like the concept alone is the funniness.
Yeah.
I wanted to see if that was something that would work, and I got really good feedback from it, but it was not meant for mainstream consumption.
No, but it's really interesting, and there's clearly a lot of emotion in those songs, and it's a genius idea.
I can do the slapstick.
Yeah.
While doing Victorious, I had every type of thing hurled at my face. I got fake snow, soup, fake mucus. I've been slimed. I can get messy, so I was like, I'm gonna do something a little interesting and cerebral. And so, it was the first thing that came to my mind, and I was like, that's kind of an interesting thing to try. I was like, that'll take like 2 months, and it ended up taking like 2 years.
Listen,
so
to have that, like, I don't know, that creativity, it clearly speaks to, who you are as an artist, a musician, just a creator.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, one of the nicest compliments that I've gotten it a couple of times from people where they go, we see that you never stopped trying.
Yes.
I always, I never gave up, and I always tried, even if it was, something on a smaller scale. Yeah. I did a pilot for Nickelodeon that I wrote. I had a internet show called Nerdy Jobs where I went to different places and I would interview people, not dirty jobs, but who did nerdy things. I went to like the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, which is NASA. I did like a guy who does Lego creations. So I was always like trying to, extend my, my reach. And I think hosting worked really well. Yeah. And creating my own stuff, I enjoy that. So this is, the next step in that. It's hosting and creating.
I'll say this. I just want people to sort of, come see your show, obviously.
Thank you.
Because it's so fun. And also really use you as an example and inspiration that you don't have to limit yourself. You don't have to put boundaries around what you do. Because like you said, a couple of years ago, you probably couldn't have imagined that you're going to London now to DJ at sold-out shows. So, cool.
Like I said before, after Victorious ended, I was just kind of like a dude hanging out. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, you never know. You plant the seeds and you never know what's going to happen. So it's just, and I tell you, once again, I can't go anywhere anymore. Like people just recognize me every single step of the way. I personally like that. I think it's fun. Yeah. You have weird conversations with weird people. So, I've just been enjoying whatever the renaissance of Matt Bennett that I'm experiencing. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. Really, it's a great experience. iParty, coming to a city near you.
Yeah, at iParty on Instagram or iParty LA on, I think, TikTok. And I'm at Matt Bennett. So for all your updates. Thanks, E100.
Follow him. New York Zone.
That's true. From Long Island, representing 516.
From the top of the Empire State Building.
E100.